sports? What are some of the things?
Well, you learn how to win. You learn people skills. And you learn that inspiration and things like that are very important. And after I finished playing professional baseball, I started coaching in high school at Avery High School in Charleston, South Carolina. Again, I was very fortunate. I won a couple state championships in basketball, and I moved from there to South Carolina State. And again, I ran into a great person who was the athletic director, Roy D. Moore.
Okay.
And as a young coach, he nurtured me and gave me opportunity. And I continued to grow.
Now, when did you come to Nashville, Coach, and under what conditions did
1968. I was 13 years at South Carolina State, and the opportunity came to come to Nashville, and my athletic director, again, I was reunited with Coach Gentry. So I jumped at it. At that time, Tennessee State was the greatest job in the country for a black coach. And everybody would jump for joy to get an opportunity, so I jumped at it.
And you came directly as a basketball coach?
Yeah,
as a
just
men's
basketball
coach.
then, under Coach Gentry.
And of course, you've got many championships and many credits.
Well, I had great players. And kids like Ted McClain, who's still here in Nashville.
Let's talk about some of those players, because I think that you sent them off to the big leagues, Coach, at a time when not many were going to the big leagues.
Well, they had talent, and they were great people to coach. Ted McClain, who's probably the finest basketball player to ever come out of Nashville. Ted Hound Dog McClain, and then I had other guys like Truck Robinson out of Jacksonville, and they all had, and Lloyd and all of those, the three of them had great pro careers. So I had some great teams.
And of course, Coach, as being involved with young men at this level and sending them where you sent them, what are some of the things that you were able to impart to them, and some of the things that they might have left with you in terms of who they were?
They were good people, and one thing I'll say at Tennessee State, under the leadership of Coach Gentry, we had good people. And good people make good players, and good players make good teams. Our guys had pride, and they stood for the right things. They had goals, and they tried to achieve their goals. And it wasn't only athletics, but academics too.
Life was much more than just athletics.
Well, see, right now you have only about 1% going into the NBA. So you have to have other attributes. And when people come to see these prospects, like I say, right now I'm scouting for the NBA, you look under their clothing and find out what kind of makeup they have, what kind of persons they are.
As an NBA scout, Coach, what are some of the things that you look for? Because and we say that from this perspective, that there are so many good athletes out there today, basketball, in all sports, but especially in basketball. I mean, what are some of the things that you could tell us this morning that you look for when you're looking a candidate over, and some things that our young people who do have those aspirations, might try to...
Well, the first thing and most important thing, not only in basketball, but in life, people look at your attitude. If I can pass anything along to young people, attitude, how you react. And that's one of the first things I look at. You have all the skills in the world. If you don't have the proper attitude, you will not be coachable and you will not succeed. You can contaminate with a bad attitude.
So it's the attitude.
Contamination. I think that's one of the greatest skills a person can bring. You have attitude, we can go to work. If you don't have attitude, we can't even start to work.
So all the skills in the world won't make up for
attitude. Same thing in any endeavor in life. I think you're looking for a job, and you go in, you're being interviewed, display a proper attitude, and you may get an opportunity. And you have to take care of yourself. You have to live the right life.
Okay, very good.
Your total carriage. When I go to scout a potential, I watch him, how he reacts to a bad call by an official.
Okay.
How he reacts to a teammate who makes a mistake. How he reacts when he's ahead, and how he reacts when he's behind.
So all of these things are part of how you see the possibilities of how that young man might fit into...
Well, you have to know how to win, you have to know how to lose. You have to be able to get along with people. You must have people skills, because you're part of a team. You're just one link, and everybody must be a contributing link to have success.
And of course, when you say that you scout for the NBA, is there a specific team that you generally work with, or is there?
I work for the league. There's a guy by the name of Marty Blake out of Atlanta.
Talk to us about how
Marty
that's done.
Blake is the director of scouting for the NBA.
Okay.
At one time, I scouted for the Minnesota Timberwolves, and they wanted me to give up my job at Vanderbilt and move to Minnesota. And at this late stage in my life, I'm not ready for relocation. So I work with Marty, and we go around, and there are certain designated people that they want us to look at, and then we'll evaluate those people and send evaluation forms in.
And that is done, and now, is that for the purpose of the NBA, or is that for the purpose of the coaches?
NBA, no, NBA prospects.
These
so when they get ready for the draft, and like in the NBA right now, you only have 2 drafts. 2 draft choices, so you cannot make any mistakes.
Okay.
And we try to eliminate the opportunity to make a mistake.
And so all of this is done really by the league in order to assist.
Each team has scouts too.
Okay.
But we enforce. Say like Miami will scout a guy. They want another opinion. We're the other opinion.
And of course, it's that information that they'll put in.
It's passed on. Marty Blake will send that to all the teams in the league.
And they'll evaluate that information.
They'll evaluate that with what they have, and then they'll draw conclusions.
Well, have you been fortunate enough to have any of the persons that you've evaluated selected?
Well, we know who the good ones are.
Okay.
And if you're a suspect, we don't get you. And every once in a while, somebody will come out of the blue. But so many have gone up. Everybody know, like the top players, like the big youngster down there at Arkansas, Ray Charles, can see he can play. So you just evaluate him, and then use your evaluation to measure whether he's going to be your first, or a second, or whatever.
Well, let's talk about it, because I think a lot of you people might not understand exactly what is meant by these draft choices.
Well, you only have 2.
Okay. Now, what does that mean when you say a draft choice?
You're right to negotiate with a player, and you only have 2 choices. You can pick 2, and then you have his sole rights.
So each team can pick 2
players.
2 players.
Yeah. Now, sometimes with trades and things like that, you may trade and pick up a draft choice. But initially, you can trade your choices for whatever. But you only have 2 choices. Very delicate, very sensitive, and you cannot make mistakes. Because, like I say, you only have 2 choices.
Sometimes, Coach, we hear of blue chip players, players who are paid.
Well, all the guys that are drafted are considered blue chip. And then, like, you have the first 11 will be what they call the lottery.
Okay.
And they're going to make big bucks.
These are the persons that in reality can make a team. Is that what we mean?
Impact players.
Impact players. And
like,
teams are willing to pay
big bucks, like the youngster up there with Detroit, Hill. He's impact. And Shaquille and people like that, they were all impact players. Although sometimes you can make a mistake, but you don't want to make a mistake because it's going to cost you a lot of money.
Because now these are players where they pay exceptionally large salaries.
If you're in the lottery, you're going to make big bucks. And if you're a first-round choice, you're going to make big bucks. And the bucks are good for second round. Then the people who aren't selected in those first 2 can be acquired as free agents. And every team in the league can negotiate with these players for their services.
And so there's a possibility of making tremendous amounts of money for individuals in this league. Well, now, how can a team, Coach, and I think that this might be a question that our audience certainly is interested in, how can a team afford to pay $25, $30 million to a player over 7? And not only do we find this in basketball, but certainly we find it in
basketball has a salary cap.
Okay.
They have an X amount that they can use for players, and that's it.
Well, now, but now in football, there is no salary cap.
There's no salary cap. And they're working on now. Baseball, that's one of the biggest problems with the strike. They do not want a salary cap. But I think to stay in business, they're going to have to get a salary cap. It'll everybody be working in the red.
Now, what does it mean not to have a salary cap in baseball?
Well, it's wide open. You know, you can go crazy. And some of the small franchises in baseball, like small markets like Milwaukee and places like that, Montreal, they don't have the income. It'll run them out of the business.
And so only
Seattle's another one suffering right now.
Only the big teams,
the big guys, the rich stay richer. They stay richer.
And that's it. And so the idea of putting a cap on what the baseball players
some parity.
It
makes everything fairly even.
Give everybody an opportunity. Levels the floor.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, well, within the framework of your baseball career, and certainly you've been keeping up with baseball, what do you think in terms of this strike? I mean, who is actually benefiting from what is going on?
I think there's a lot of wrong with both. I think there's a little greed, maybe with the baseball players, and I hope they get together because I think they're depriving our public of baseball.